Laila Edwards and Kirsten Simms for Wisconsin. We'll start with an opening statement from Coach, and then we'll open up to questions from the athletes. Coach?
First of all, I'd love to congratulate KK on receiving the Patty Kazmaier this year. You know, we are players, we've been around her for a long time, and you know, she's worked hard. She continues to work hard. I remember when she came in her freshman year, and I mean, we all knew she was going to be a wonderful player and have an impact on us for a long period of time. But the thing that I take away is her growth off the ice and her maturity and what she is now and what she's become. And it's all credit to her because she really works at her craft. A lot of elite players, you know, might pause for moments or take days off or, you know, feel good about themselves. She's not one of those. She continues to work hard, and she's gotten better over the course of the time she's been with us. And I can't imagine being in her shoes. You know, you go back over the last 5 or 6 weeks and what's happened to her and a couple of other players. I'm sure it hasn't sank in right now, but today adds to that legacy of her. And obviously, after tomorrow's game, you know, she won't be around any longer. We're certainly going to miss her. But I'm happy for her because, like I say, you know, the maturity that she's gained off the ice is what really excites me. Obviously, we've seen her on the ice and all the wonderful things that she's done and all the awards she's received. But I think, you know, the maturity and the growth off the ice is something that's special to our coaching staff.
Do questions for the student athletes? Please raise your hand. We'll take a mic to you.
Laila, you've been with KK forever. Was there a time when you realized that she could be what she has become now?
Definitely. The first time I ever played with her, I was 10, she was 12 or 11, and I was like, yeah, this girl's feisty, and she kept getting penalties for body checking, and I was pissed at her because we kept going on the PK, and I was like, she's so good, we'd rather her on the ice. Yeah, I was 10, and then I finally got to boarding school with her when I was 13, and her work ethic just continued to grow, and right away I learned so much from her, and I was, just as Coach said, I'm so proud of what she's on the ice, but I'm far more proud of how she's become, you know, off the ice, and how she's inspired so many people like myself.
Kirsten, a similar question. Obviously, you played with KK for a long time too. When you think about where she's grown in her development, what were some of the thoughts that were going through your head as she kind of accepted that award today?
I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, there's no one more deserving. She's been unbelievable her whole college career, and then prior to that, she's made a statement for the player she is, the person she is, and like Laila said, just not only where she's come on the ice, but off the ice as well. I mean, she's been an incredible leader for this program, not even the last 2 years, but she's had a letter on her jersey, but before then. I mean, she was a veteran right as she got here, and yeah, she's grown over the years, but I mean, I looked up to her when I was a freshman, and she's in the same class as me. Like, I want to be on the ice with her all the time, doing extra work, doing extra skills, doing all those things, and those are habits she's had since she was in high school and before then. You don't find that very often, and that's how you become great, and that's how she's become great, and she only continues to get better. She never lets the foot off the gas, and she always wants to learn new things and continue to grow in her game, and she's only going to become more dominant as the years go down. So, yeah, like I said, just unbelievably proud of her, and no one more deserving, truly.
I was hoping both of you can touch on this. Your group of four-year players has won more games than any other four-year group in Wisconsin history, which, if you think about everything that's happened here, that's pretty remarkable. There's one more to go. How big of a gap is there between you winning it and losing it, especially when tomorrow is your last one? And what does that mean for you going into tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, this class has been so special. You know, the way we bonded on and off the ice. I think there'd be no better way to go out, you know, than winning it. But personally, I think I can speak for the rest of the classes. I love winning, but I hate losing even more. So it's a pretty big gap between those two. But yeah, this is a very special class. I'm so honored to be a part of. You know, from every single one of them. You know, regardless how many games or minutes they played, they've all had an impact on what this team's been able to do. And yeah, I'm just excited to finish the season with this group.
Yeah, it's been awesome to see that our class that came in 4 years ago is still together now, and that's something special that you grow over the years. And then the other girls that have been added into our class as well, I mean, fit right in, and it feels like they've been there since the beginning. And so, not only to do it with our class and the senior group, but also all the girls on the team as well, just to be where we are right now and where we want to be. And like she said, we like winning a lot more than we like losing, and so obviously there's a job to get done tomorrow, but to do it with the group that we have and the class that we have is just super special, and could go on and on about how close I've become with all those girls, and I'm just so excited to get another opportunity to try and do what we want to do tomorrow. So.
Similarly, how important has it been for you all, you the Olympians, but you the group as a bigger picture too, sort of to push each other to get better, but also to lean on each other in this very weird season where I'm sure you haven't actually processed what's all happened in the past couple months? How important has it been to have each other and have not be the only person going through this on the team, but sort of have those touchstones?
Yeah, I think you said it perfectly. Just being able to have each other and leaning on each other and experiencing this interesting season with each other, I think it's been a big help, because we all had to go through it. But then the team who wasn't over there, at the Olympics, they've been so welcoming back, but also just so incredible to see what they were able to accomplish when you're gone too. So we have so much respect for that. And to come back into a season that they were doing so well, it's not easy, but we were able to come together as a team, figure out, adjust, and now we all have one goal in mind.
For both of you, I guess I'm curious. I mean, obviously getting back to the championship game is important, and winning is going to be important tomorrow. Was it important for it to be Ohio State? Was this kind of the matchup that you were, with all due respect, were hoping to kind of get for this last game?
Yeah, I think we love the Ohio State-Wisconsin rivalry. That's become a thing over the last couple of years, and obviously it's our fourth time in our 4 years here playing Ohio in the championship game, and so there's no better rivalry, there's no better game than what people are going to see tomorrow, and it's going to be back and forth, it's going to be gritty, and both teams want it bad. So obviously we're excited to get another go at them with what happened earlier this season, but yeah, I just think the excitement's there, the energy's there, and we love this game, we love this type of game, and this is what we live for and what playoff hockey means.
Any more questions for the student athletes? We got one right here.
Travis.
Let's go.
Shiloh's got, he wants to on that bus ride.
How does it feel being on the team?
Oh, it's a great honor. I think it's one of the most decorated programs in history for a reason. And just to be alongside this group with this staff, top down, it feels great, Shiloh.
Yeah, Shiloh, it feels unbelievable to get to be with her every single day for the last 4 years.
Just a quick, we were curious about what happens when it's that big of a goal puck and you and KK both hit milestones. We were wondering how you were going to share the game puck.
Split it in half. I don't know, but I saw Laila. I mean, you see the video. She's running to go get the puck right away. It was so cool to see that. And yeah, like knowing that it's KK's 200th point is unbelievable on that big of a goal as well. So it's gonna be really cool to share that milestone with her, and obviously accomplishing 200 points, especially as a defenseman, is pretty cool. So yeah, like I said, it's cool to share that with her and that moment with her, but more importantly, winning that game and getting to move on to Sunday too.
Yeah, it was really cool because I knew that they're both knocking on the door for those milestones, and for them to both be a part of it, I was like, this is crazy. So I started to go celebrate, and I remembered, you never know where the puck can end up. I'm sure you saw everything with Jack Hughes, so I was like, I'm gonna go grab that puck. I got it, and then we grabbed another one for KK, so yeah, it's all figured out, but very proud of these two.
All right, we'll dismiss the student athletes and then we'll do the questions for coach.
Thanks.
Thanks.
All right, please raise your hand and we'll take a mic to you.
Mark, what's new with you at Ohio State this year? Fourth time in a row. You just played them a couple weeks ago. Is that easy? Is that difficult? I mean, the familiarity. I mean, does that make it easier or harder going into tomorrow?
I'm not sure, I mean, on one side you probably say, you know, it makes it easier because we know each other so well, but, you know, the magnitude of the game and the meaning of the game and the team that ends up winning the game, you know, there's a lot at stake, and, you know, for each group's seniors on both sides, you know, they wanna finish their careers off, you know, hosting that trophy, so it just adds some flavor and things to the game. I'm still processing yesterday, for crying out loud. I mean, that atmosphere was unbelievable. And I'm so glad, you know, we were part of it. Penn State was part of it. It was in Penn State. Just a lot of things that I take away from that game. Obviously, you know, winning the game helps us, but, you know, for women's hockey and for Penn State's program and, you know, just everybody that maybe was the first time at that game and the first time they've ever seen a women's hockey game, you know, hopefully they come back and it builds and it continues to build. And, you know, the last month and a half, you know, whether on the men's side or the women's side, I mean, hockey's been in the headlines and there's a lot of wonderful things that happen. And we that are in the hockey business are the ones that benefit. And so, you know, Muz has done a great job with her group. You know, she had to navigate, you know, some space that we had to navigate this year. And, you know, she's done a good job of keeping them together and playing, you know, their best hockey at the end of the season. And, you know, we look at ourselves and we're in a similar position. And it may not happen again where two teams face each other 4 years in a row, you know, trying to hoist the trophy. But, you know, for us, and I'm sure for them, you know, it's one more. What can we do and what do you have to do in those 3 periods to come out on top? And so for the next, you know, 24, 28 hours, we're figuring that out.
Kind of touched on it a little bit, but how special is this? I mean, this is gonna be the, I don't know, umpteenth time in a row where it's 1 versus 2. I mean, you've been around a while, you played a few rivalry games, but just can you put in words, you know, how special this is that we're watching?
Well, I think, you know, and I'm sure, you know, Ohio State's feeling the same way. It's hard to get here. I mean, there's so many things that can happen that prevent you from getting into this position. And, you know, you're fortunate and you feel blessed that, you know, wow, 4 years in a row we get to actually play for a championship for the national tournament. And so, I think as coaches, at least for me, you know, you're in the present. You know, you're not thinking about anything else than, you know, what do I need to do to get the team ready, and am I covering everything? Am I going to be able to push the right buttons? And so, you know, you sort of go get into this cocoon, and everything around you becomes oblivious, and you're just focusing on it, knowing that, you know, tomorrow at about 4:30, unless we go into multiple overtimes, you know, it's going to be finished, and then you reflect on, you know, the process of building up to the game and what you did and what you didn't do or what you might have changed. But that's why we do what we do, and I think, you know, from my standpoint, I enjoy it. You know, you get into these moments, these big moments where so much is on the line, and the decisions that you make, whether big ones or little ones, all they're going to reflect on the way the team performs. And so it challenges everybody. And so, you know, we got a challenge now of playing against a team we've played 5 times already, and you know, they're big, they're aggressive, they're physical, and, you know, what are we going to be able to do to counter some of that and create opportunities and end up with 1 more goal than they do.
Got time for a couple more questions.
Mark, after the WCHA championship game, you were, you know, pretty clear about what didn't go well and what was kind of missing. And it's not that long ago, but also probably feels like quite a ways ago after some of the games that we played.
Yeah, we got the snowstorm, Madison, you were part of that Monday morning. I didn't think I was going to get to practice. And I told them, you know, Tuesday press conference, you know, I'm turning off Highway J on the Mauer, and here sits that deer, you know, sitting with it, snow up to, you know, past its knees, and, you know, do I go down that road? If I do, I'm gonna get stuck. And he's looking at me like, no, you don't need to go down this road. So I take a U-turn, go back, get on the main thoroughway, and I was just happy to make it to practice that morning. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask about sort of making sure that you know, it's not a repeat game. I mean, obviously they're all, you know, professional-minded athletes that they're gonna be thinking about that, but they went into that game thinking they could win that one as well. So just curious about sort of the approach to make sure it's not a repeat.
Yeah, I mean, every game you play is an experience you have, and, you know, that afternoon, Ohio State played better with us, better than we did, and, they deserved to win that hockey game. And so, when you get up Monday and you get back to business, and, what can we do to, the next time, if there's gonna be a next time, to play and what we might do different. And so, hopefully we have learned from that game, knowing that, they're gonna play strong, they're gonna play physical. We just need to up the ante. And I think the meaning of the game and the opportunity that's at the end for the winning team, hopefully gets everybody, on both sides of the aisle ready to play their best game. And if Ohio State plays their best game, and we play our best game, oh, what a treat it's gonna be. It's gonna be special, it's gonna be fun, and there's gonna be a lot of people around the country that are gonna be watching it. And, at the end of the day, if that ends up happening, in the big picture, hockey's gonna win out, and women's hockey's gonna win out. And so that's what I'm excited about. And the nervousness part of it that we get as coaches is, can we play our A game? And at the end of the day, if we play our A game and we do everything we can in our control to give us a chance to win, then you walk away with your head up and you move forward, and you get up on Monday, and then the transfer portal opens up, and then life goes on.
Time for one more.
Your players talk a little bit about the gap between winning and losing in this game, and how much they hate losing more than they like winning. Is that a veteran mindset, something that really only comes from going through both of those sides of things? Because I can imagine that younger players maybe don't know a lot about that, but people who have gone through it really feel both of those sides, don't they?
Yeah, I think, your growth and your development isn't always winning, or you being successful. I think a lot of times we can grow and develop, both on and off the ice when adversity comes. I mean, just take yesterday's game as an example. I mean, how much adversity we had to withstand at different points in that game. I mean, with the fans and the excitement that Penn State brought to the rink, them scoring early on a power play, we're tying it up, and then they score on another power play, and then, we take control of the game a little bit in the second period, and then they come out and they start coming, and they score with 5 minutes to go. They more adversity. And if you haven't gone through some of those things earlier in your life, when you get in those moments, it can become trying, it can become difficult, it can become really challenging. And that's the great thing about hockey, it teaches you life lessons. And so when adversity comes, how am I gonna handle it? And so a couple of years ago, when KK gets hurt, for the first time ever, and she's gonna be out 4, 5, 6 weeks, how's she gonna handle that? And the first, week and a half, I mean, she was a mess, because, it's like, all these thoughts are going in my mind, and, am I ever gonna be able to play again when I come back? Am I gonna be able to play at the level I'm accustomed to? And then you go through the process, and, she came back stronger than ever, and, today she wins the Patty Kaz, and, without some of those experiences individually, you can't grow the way you need to grow. And as a team, it's no different. Every season there's gonna be adversity. We've had a bunch this year at different times, and we've been able to manage and guide our ways through it, and together push ourselves into a better version of who we are. And now you're at the end, and now you face the biggest hurdle, the biggest challenge, the biggest hurdle that you have to jump over. But knowing if you jump over and you're successful, there's a prize at the end of it that becomes really special.
Thank you very much, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you. Questions from the student athletes? Coach?
Well, we've been here before. Hopefully it's a similar story with a different ending. But we're excited. We've been planning all year since how the season ended last year. And is there a vendetta? Of course there is, and there should be excitement with that. But we're ready to go, and we're excited for the task at hand.
Questions for the athletes, please raise your hand and we'll take a mic to you.
My apologies for a longish setup, which is that Nadine has talked about the past couple of days, sort of what she expects from you all, what she puts you all through, and how that prepares you to be here, not just as athletes, but as people. And so just from the student athlete perspective, can you talk a little bit about what it means to, be an Ohio State Buckeye, and how that prepares you to play in these games these past couple of years and leading into tomorrow?
Yeah, I think a saying that we like to say is not everyone can be a Buckeye. We know the commitment that it takes and the drive that we have. It starts in August. It starts in September when we get on campus. We start preseason. And we know that this is the game that we want to come and play in. And I mean, Amo and I both, at least for me, the last 4 years, it's always been the national championship against Wisconsin, and her for the last 3 years. So I think, like coming into Ohio State, you want to win. We're all competitors. We all have that drive to win. We also know we have to earn our jersey. We have to play for the logo. The brand is huge, and we know that, and we know what we're representing. So I think putting our best foot forward for the program and the school as a whole.
I wonder if either of you can quantify the gap between winning that game tomorrow and losing it. How big that.
We're not gonna talk about the losing side of that.
Okay, well, let's talk about the winning side, about how much you've been there, you've both been there. What does that side of emotion feel like for the next 6 months, really?
Yeah, like, we've been on both sides of it, and like, we wanna be on that winning side tomorrow. We know what it takes, to win that national championship, so we're just gonna lean on our past experience to bring it home.
I wonder if you both could kind of sum up what this rivalry is like to play in. If you had to sum it up for someone who hasn't seen any of these games, what would you tell them that people can kind of expect tomorrow?
I think it's a really deep-rooted rivalry. I think there's a lot of, I don't want to use the word hatred, but I mean, there's a lot of clash between the teams. I think, like, again, the last 4 years have been us and them. And I think as a conference opponent too, it's always kind of been us 1 and 2. And we know them well as a team. We know a lot of their players. Obviously their senior class is pretty solid, and we've played against them the last 4 years as well. So I think we've grown to know a lot about their program, and that rivalry continues to get bigger and bigger, and I think they feel the same way. But it's always a physical matchup. It's fast. It's the best college hockey you'll be able to watch, and I stand by that. And I think both teams will bring their best tomorrow, but again, it'll be physical, it'll be fast, and it'll be a fun hockey game.
I think Peschel touched on it all there, but obviously there's a lot of history between the two teams that goes back before both of us were at Ohio State. So we just want to represent the brand tomorrow.
Emma, can you talk about sort of the different mindset going into maybe that first one versus this one, and just how it's changed for you over the years, and maybe how you have grown and approached this game differently than maybe you would have the first time around?
Yeah, I think my freshman year, I didn't really know what to expect. Obviously, it was a dream come true. We've been playing in that game, and now it's an expectation. I think there was no back door to get to this game every single year after we got there that first time, feeling the distaste of losing 0-1. Obviously, I have a much different role now. I've grown a lot as a person, as a player, and I owe that to our program in Muzzy. And I think my freshman year, I didn't really know where I would really fit in with that team, and at that point, we relied on a lot of our depth in our senior class and our 5th years, and then this year it's a lot more of our upperclassmen and even our younger girls that we're leaning into. So I think it's a really big mix of experience, but I think after playing in 3 of them, you kind of know how to handle it, you know how to handle the pressure, and going into this one, again, it's an expectation and it's a commitment to get that trophy.
Sorry, just quick follow-up. Having leaned on that senior class when you were young, does that help inform how you are leading the team now?
For sure. I think that year Emma Malte was our captain. She was a really strong leader. Sophie Jakes was one of the defenders that I looked up to, and being able to watch them and how they handled those situations and how they handled losing, and even just throughout the whole entire season is something that I can work to improve on for our girls and our younger team now, and to lead them well into how to handle this type of pressure in this game.
Any more questions for the student athletes? Time for one more. Yeah.
I just want to keep both your perspectives on what do you feel good about it as far as your team's play right now? What do you think's clicking? What's I won't say strong point, but what are you feeling good about when you look at the tape from yesterday and really the playoffs, about what you guys are doing right now?
I think as a team, like at this point in the season, you want to be peaking. I think we're hitting that. We condition all year. I think our legs are a big factor with us, and we stick to our systems and what works, don't stray away from it, and that's really been working for us.
I think what's important to piggyback on that, of the 5 goals yesterday, they were all by different people on our team, from freshmen to seniors, and I think that just illustrates that anybody can score for us when we need them to. And that's been working well for us over the last, season, but in particularly when your back's against the wall, people, all ages are coming in and showing up.
All right, student athletes, you're dismissed, and then we'll do questions for coach.
Nadine, I noticed that in your opening statement you mentioned a vendetta, which jumped out to me as the same phrasing you used in the preseason WCHA
Yes.
conference call. I take it there is a particular reason for that phrasing, and I'm wondering why you settled on that.
Well, everybody puts their assumptions into it, and quite honestly, it's the name of my husband's car. Seriously, he built a car from 1965, Ford Mustang from scratch, and the name was Vendetta. And I loved that name because of the meaning of what you all know it to mean. And I thought it was very fitting because it's also a fast race car that was completely badass and pretty, and I just thought it really exemplified who my team is. Fast, pretty, and badass. I'll show you guys a picture so you know what I'm talking about. But it was pretty sweet.
I mean, Coach, beyond the, these 4 straight championship games, it's been at least 3-4 years that it's been 1 versus 2. Very unique, presumably, situation as far as the rivalry goes. How special, can you put into words how special, this matchup is and kind of what we've been watching and what we'll watch tomorrow?
Well, I think what makes it special, and I said this before, that we weren't really, when I started at Ohio State, anyone's rival. We are a type of team that you would come in and get, 6 points, win 2 games, and get out of Columbus, right? And so I think over the years we have grown to earn respect, and with that might be some hostility, I would say hatred, but hostility that comes with a team just out of pure respect, the way that we have for other teams, and I think that just puts a little fire in your belly too. But I think it says a lot about our athletic department and the support that they have in our program. We get ridiculed a lot for our rink, and that's our problem, not anybody else's problem. And what the focus should be on is how quick our administration supports our program with all the resources to be able to be #1 in the country when nobody else thought that was possible a few years ago. And not just once, like repeatedly over years. And so I think that, sometimes we don't get the credit we deserve, and sometimes we do, depends, I guess, who you ask. But at the end of the day, we really don't listen to outside noises, and we know what and who we are, and that we do have the support of the best athletic department in the country.
2 more questions.
Is it fair to say that you demanded that support and that wasn't there before you showed up? And so is it fair to say that's a lot of your influence?
Well, I think I'm a piece of it for sure, but when I first started, Janine has been my AD for the last 5 years, but the first 5 years I had Diana Sabo, who was the Senior Associate Athletic Director alongside with Janine. And Gene Smith pretty much just looked at her and said, we need a new coach, that's your order of business and your focus. And I had immediate support. I was a lot younger, and I didn't know what I was doing. I was nervous. I came from being a second assistant, and I really had to fix not just the program's success, but its reputation. And I know that I had to weed out some of the weak, so I understand that I was a part of it, but you're only as strong as your leader, as we tell our athletes, and the same goes for me as a coach. I can only be as strong as my leader, and Janine has always found a way to say yes to us and help grow our program. Because I didn't want to be that one-hit wonder that, had a good year or 2 and then fell off. It's exhausting to stay on top for sure, but when you know that you have an athletic department with the financial resources to support you in multiple ways, so the athletes feel like an elite and important athlete and person, I think speaks volumes for why people want to come to us and why people want, like myself, to stay there.
Okay, sorry, my actual question, that was a reaction to what you said. You talked about liking the chess of it, but I was wondering if it's also like, I'm real sick of this chess match and we're gonna just keep butting heads. So I was just curious of that give and take of when there are no secrets kind of between you two and it is that biggest chess match, that it's the part that you enjoy but also maybe a little frustrating?
Are you talking about Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I think what's fun about it is our girls are prepared, right? And it really comes down to whose goalie is hot. We know each other's systems. What's unpredictable, maybe for some, but not for me, is I know my team's gonna show up tomorrow. And that is guaranteed that on me and my staff, that they're gonna be prepared for that, and that they're gonna be ready for that, not just physically, but mentally. And I think that what I do know is gonna be a really good game, but I think it's also just making sure that we keep them calm on the bench and focused. That's a big piece, because last year we did have an error that cost us a championship, and I'm not talking about the 18 seconds, I'm talking about the 2 minutes with an extra man on the ice. And that was us on the bench and having to be more focused. So those are areas that I know in my head I've gone over a lot, and with my staff. So again, we're gonna pursue perfection. We won't be, but we're gonna really be cautious of not making a big error like that again. So I think for us, you know, it's gonna be a really good game with a lot of talented players, and it's just gonna be who shows up.
Thank you very much, Coach.
Thank you.